Hello and welcome to NewFilmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Dan DeLillo and we're here at the South Park Center. I'm delighted to be joined by Moses with his movie, Golds. Let's take a look at the clip.
Just like that. Coolest in the city, yeah, we like ice packs. Fuck it, I know you. Just like that. Coolest in the city, yeah, we like ice packs. Fuck it, I know you with me. Hit the night like cats, and we vibing through the night and vibe right back. You dope as fuck. I'm liking your style, you gaining my trust.
What's going on, little man?
Moses, thank you for being here and bringing your film to New Filmmakers.
Thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it.
I can't believe this is your thesis film. Like, I thought you'd have made 40 movies by now because honestly, it looks like you've had years and years of experience. So I'm so looking forward to having this conversation. For those that haven't seen Golds, tell us a brief synopsis.
Yeah. So the story overall, follows a young little boy who is trying to sort of like raise money for some medical attention for his mom. Of course, he doesn't have any sort of like a big idea, so he basically comes up with an idea of creating a small little yard sale.
Yeah.
And he does this by gathering every single little piece that he has in his house and tries to basically sell it.
I like from the first frame, from the first moment you introduced the family, like I fell in love with this like family and the love and the bond they have for each other, and you just pick great actors, and I'm looking forward to talking to you more about that. And it just really immediately I was like, wow, there's so much love in this family to support this situation. Where did the inspiration come for you, and particularly being your thesis film as well? Where did the inspiration come for you in creating this particular story and then deciding to turn it into a film?
Yeah, no, the inspiration sort of like came from, my own sort of like personal situations, I guess, growing up and everything, from a family that didn't sort of like have that much, For me, I always, thought like, man, I wish I was, at enough age where I can help out my mom and my dad and everything like that. So that sort of like came from that sort of like inspiration, and, and that's what sort of like turned into that type of story.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's the whole process of how I sort of like came about creating the story and everything. So.
Well, I mean, it was so beautifully told through the eyes of this young boy, and you just felt just how like, so much on his shoulders, with what he was trying to do, but also how wonderful that this young kid is out there trying to, love his family in the best way he could, which resonated so well. What's kind of crazy is this situation is an experience for a lot of people, particularly in this country and particularly with healthcare. Did you kind of know going into this as much as it was kind of personal, but this is also universally for a lot of communities experiencing this and the hardships of paying, things like healthcare bills?
Yeah. Going into it, I guess in a way, I didn't really sort of like trickle in that sort of like far, I guess in a way. But of course, as I was making this film and everything, and as I was on set, specifically in that one scene where you have the brother and the older brother and mom and everything like that are having this conversation, I sort of like figured, okay, this definitely hits a bigger topic, than just a small little story here. So and people sort of, I guess in a way, started talking to me about, hey Moses, this story here definitely gravitates towards a bigger audience because the situation here, definitely means a lot to a lot of people that are going through this process.
Absolutely, so. And I really, honestly, I love this family that you picked, and I mean, I even love the characters that weren't so good that you picked as well. But it was really beautiful just to see this loving family and just the sadness of the fight to have to kind of overcome the circumstances for their mother. How was the kind of casting process for you? Of course, your central figure was a young boy working with a child as well. Like, was the casting, and what's kind of like, how do you work as a director with your actors?
Yeah. So the casting process was, of course, tricky here and there, trying to make sure that the right roles, fit these characters and everything like that. So, and also for the young little boy, you know, I when it comes down to finding like a, you know, child actor, it's a little bit tricky and everything. So with that person, I wanted to make sure I was able to cast somebody that's able to, you know, be themselves. You know, that's the harder things about, you know, casting a person that's like really young. It's like you're not casting them to play a role, you're casting them to play themselves a little bit. You know, so
he's brilliant though.
He was incredible. You know, there's moments on set that I remember that, you know, that he literally, you know, blew the whole entire crew out. You know, where I think there was a moment where all of us almost basically like cried here and there, because there was a small little spark that he did, you know, when a car was running down and he was telling the car to stop, you know, that moment over here definitely hit me, and it definitely had a few people in the crew as well. So, and he
had so many moments, like even when, you know, that awful thing happened and he's running down the street, and then, you know, when he's outside the, you know, the store, and, you know, and then he's just sitting on the floor, just hoping that someone's going to buy his stuff. It was just, there's so many moments in there, you know.
I mean, one of the thing about this film too as well that I, you know, gravitated towards, you know, was sharing the idea of community, you know, and the idea of, you know, not judging any book by its cover. Essentially. You know, with the first guy that you see that gives him like $100.
I know, I love that.
That was one of the ideas that I wanted to do. I wanted the audience to see him as, you know, maybe this guy's a villain. You know, but of course, you know, he comes out to be a completely different person. You know, which is, you know, he's played by Ian, of course, and that's the sort of like the pathway that I wanted to head towards, of letting people know that, hey, nobody's here is a bad guy. There's, you know, there's bad ideas, I guess, in a way, but there's never, you know, bad people.
Absolutely, so. And you know, and it's so. I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I think that's a really important element that you bridged into the film, and even the people that, you know, didn't do the nice thing towards him. You think, oh no, where did it all go wrong in your life to where you had to do that to a child? You know what I mean? Like where you had to take the money away. Like where did it go wrong? Where you know, you're in a position to do this now. You know, I was asking questions more, feeling like, damn, why did you have to do that? You know, but like. So it's all kind of, there was a lot of questions in there, which I love that you put in there as well. So
you know, there's questions that I feel like, you know, now, of course, I'm able to sort of like understand a little bit more. That I opened up a little bit more on you know, the feature screenplay and everything, which, you know, bridges all of these little pieces of stories and everything like that was, you know, captured in its 15, you know, short film.
It's amazing. I mean, I was going to come and ask you about the next about the idea of turning this in, because I think there's so much great depth of story in here, and so I mean, I want it to be left in this little land that you created for us. You know, so that is something that's you're looking to be the next step.
You know, that is definitely the next step for me and everything, because I realize that, you know, there's a huge story here, you know, not just for me, but for many people, I guess, in a way. And I feel like a lot of people can sort of like relate, you know. And one thing about this feature too as well is that it's more of a, you know, coming of age story. You know, and it's a coming of age story that I haven't, you know, seen. That's the reason why I'm, you know, trying to make sure that I'm able to create it. You know, if I had seen it already, then, you know, it wouldn't, you know, be any need for me to create it, I guess.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it's really, really important for me, and really, really important for so many people, you know, that's been through, you know, this side of certain type of situation, I guess. And
And Moses, how was it seeing Golds on the big screen with a, you know, a great audience? I mean, we've not had this very often in these last few years. Was that how did that feel?
That felt great, you know. For me, it felt amazing, and you know, literally right after the screening, you know, ended, the best thing that happened to me, of course, was, you know, getting so many people to come to me and say, hey, your film was amazing, you know, and that definitely meant a lot, you know. You don't get compliments all the time like that, and I had so many wonderful people sort of like come to me and be like, hey, Moses, please, you know, let me help out, or whatever I sort of like I can to help out in your next project or something like that. So
that's amazing.
Things like that sort of like you know, encouraged me and gave me motivation. I'm pretty sure, you know, it would definitely it definitely does that to so many other people too as well.
Yeah,
But,
well, Moses, you got it. You know, you got it. I'm very excited for you, and
Yeah.
your career's just beginning, so it's really good. So,
Yeah.
with that being said, obviously there's the development to turn goals into a feature. Is that your primary goal at the moment, or is there any other things you're working on next?
Yeah. I mean, that is definitely my primary sort of like a goal. But as that is still being, of course, going into sort of like the second draft and everything like that. There's a short film that I'm, in the process of making, which is I'll be filming in October. Also that story, has a bigger sort of like a theme. It tackles the idea of finding work after incarceration. The process of the hardships of getting that. It's great that people sort of like come out of jail and everything like that, but the hard part is letting people know that you're still human. So that's a story that I'm sort of like in pre-production right now, and wanted to make sure that that part of the story is also told.
Oh, amazing! This is brilliant.
Yeah.
I can't wait for all of this. This is really fantastic, really incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I know you're very early in your career, and it's amazing. This is your thesis, and it's getting to film festivals, well deserved. Is there anything you kind of, to our filmmaking, is there anything you kind of learned thus far, or any kind of advice that you could share, or any things that you kind of go by as a filmmaker, as a creative person?
Yeah, no, for me, the one thing I definitely go by overall is, for me, from my own experience, I guess, is consistency. Being consistent. That's the best thing you can. That's the best thing that sort of like helps out with me, I guess, in a way. The more consistent you are with with your writing, and with the many films that you basically put out, the better chance that people are going to see your work. The better chance that you're going to become a better filmmaker in general. And yeah, that is mostly sort of like it. And of course, is putting stories that you want to tell is really important. So if there's a story out that you have not seen before and everything, they're like, hey, you haven't seen my story yet.
Yeah.
Let me try to put my story out there. That right there, is gonna set you so far, into the world of filmmaking and
Absolutely.
everything. So,
and it's your story, only you can tell the story the way you want to tell it.
Yeah, no, of course.
So,
yeah.
Moses, I'm very excited for you. I can't wait for Goals of the Feature. I can't wait for your next project. But seriously, thank you so much for bringing this very, very amazing, important film to us. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me and for doing this. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. Moses, everybody.